Should you be pre-approved or should you be pre-qualified, or what we say pre-qual? And it seems like the lines have been blurred over the last few years about what a pre-qualification and a pre-approval means, and so let's define. First off, a pre-qualification in the past has always been that it was just an interview between the loan officer and the borrower, and not much more than that. And a pre-approval was that a file got sent to a lender underwriting and was underwritten by an underwriter and was more of a formalized process. And that's still the case. And so let's talk about this though, because pre-qualification or pre-quals don't necessarily have to just be a conversation. In fact, my pre-quals are different than that. There are lenders now who don't do pre-approvals. They don't want to tax their underwriting systems to do those. And I'll say a few things about that in a minute. But it doesn't, again, have to be that a pre-qual is just an interview. My pre-qualifications include a full documentation review of a borrower. We look at income, we look at assets, job history, a credit report is pulled, and citizenship is checked, ID is checked, and we run an automated underwriting approval. What is that? Automated underwriting has kind of changed things over the years, and today loan files are submitted electronically into an underwriting engine depending on the loan type, but all qualified mortgages, those mortgages that meet standardized guidelines, are all underwritten that way in the system electronically. And so that's also the standard that underwriters use to do a pre-approval. So an accurate pre-qualification will and should end up the same as an underwriting approval. And so again, it's not necessary that every lender do everything a certain way, but what's necessary is that you get a quality result. So automated underwriting is why pre-qualifications are accurate if they're done at that stage. And so you may ask, why even do a pre-qual? Well, it's faster. And it ends up that if we can do a pre-qualification that's correct and accurate up front, it doesn't tax an underwriting system where an underwriter has to do it up front and then pick up the file again at the end after an appraisal is done or later in the process. And so I would rather say to my real estate brokers and other referral sources and to my borrowers, look, we got this done really quickly because we only had to pick up the file one time, we got it underwritten, it's done, it's ready to go. So you know, if you do run into a file that has some non-standard stuff in it relative to the borrower profile, almost every single time we do want to actually do a full pre-approval on those files, just simply because we don't want any guesswork. And so that's the difference between the two. Under any circumstance or every circumstance, the idea will be to make sure that we protect everyone in the process. We don't want a seller waiting any longer. We don't want a seller or the parties to the transaction to question whether or not we have a solid transaction and we have a solid borrower. So anything at all that would result in that being a question mark, we want to do everything we can, and if that means that it should be a full pre-approval, that's what we will do. And as a lender and as a loan officer, I definitely have that ability to do that. So, as always, if there are questions, please contact me.